do for a living?
Lots of things.
Where's your office?
I don't have one.
How come?
I don't need one.
Where's your wife?
Don't have one.
Uncle Buck wasn't just another late 80s comedy, it was chaos with a heart. Behind John Candy's oversized coat and legendary pancakes lay a story packed with doubt, improvisation and surprises that shaped Hollywood history. From the casting choices no one believed would work to the tiny moments that birthed Home Alone, this film was far more than slapstick. These are 20 shocking facts you never knew about Uncle Buck. It's almost impossible now to imagine anyone but John Candy barging into the Russell family's home, but Candy wasn't Hughes's first pick. The director originally chased bigger names like Jack Nicholson, Danny DeVito, and even Robin Williams, each offering their own chaotic spin, yet none of them stuck. Executives doubted Candy could carry a movie on his own, but Hughes retooled the script specifically for him. The gamble worked. Candy's warmth transformed Uncle Buck from a foul-mouthed slob into a lovable family icon audiences adored. Uncle Buck was more than a comedy. It marked the beginning of Hughes Entertainment, John Hughes's own production company. Backed by Universal with a multi-picture deal, Hughes now had the freedom to shape his creative empire. The film's release in 1989 set the stage for a wave of early 90s projects like Career Opportunities and Beethoven. Ironically, Hughes's biggest smash, Home Alone, wouldn't even come through Universal. Instead, Fox took the film and turned it into a worldwide phenomenon. Uncle Buck became both a launchpad and a reminder of Hughes's restless ambition. Before Uncle Buck, Macaulay Culkin was just another 9-year-old auditioning in Chicago. But Hughes spotted something special in him. Sharp, comedic timing paired with innocent charm. Cast as Miles, Culkin went toe-to-toe with John Candy, trading quips and holding his ground like a seasoned pro. His performance stunned the cast and crew, especially his ability to keep up with Candy's improvisation. That spark convinced Hughes he had found more than just a child actor. He had found the star of his next idea, Home Alone, written specifically for Culkin after Hughes watched him shine in Uncle Buck. Sometimes entire blockbusters are born from a single gag. In Uncle Buck, there's a small scene where young Miles peppers Buck's girlfriend with rapid-fire questions through a mail slot. On paper, it was throwaway comedy, but when Macaulay Culkin delivered it, his sharp timing transformed it into gold. Hughes immediately saw Culkin's potential. What if this kid defended a whole house instead of just a doorway? That thought planted the seed for Home Alone. 2 years later, Culkin turned that spark into a global phenomenon. Keep watching, because the next fact reveals how John Candy himself completely rewrote Hughes's vision of Uncle Buck. John Hughes may have written the script, but John Candy brought it to life. On set, Candy couldn't resist adding his own one-liners, often blindsiding co-stars with unexpected zingers. His infamous line about taking a quarter downtown to have a rat gnaw that thing off your face wasn't scripted at all. It was pure Candy. Hughes laughed so hard he kept it in. Cast members like Amy Madigan admitted it was impossible to keep a straight face when Candy riffed. His playful improvisations gave Uncle Buck unpredictability and warmth. The film isn't just remembered for Hughes's writing, but for Candy's knack at making every scene sharper, funnier, and completely unforgettable. John Hughes built his career around Chicago, but Uncle Buck nearly unfolded somewhere else entirely, St. Louis. Early drafts placed the Russell family in Missouri suburbia, complete with the same family tensions but none of the Chicago flavor. Hughes realized something was missing. His movies thrived on the rhythms and backdrop of Chicago, from snowy sidewalks to working-class quirks, so he shifted the script back, giving Uncle Buck its authentic Midwest identity. Chicago wasn't just geography for Hughes, it was character. Without it, the story felt hollow. With it, the movie gained the texture that made it timeless, another chapter in Hughes's Chicago universe. When Buck storms into Tia's school to confront the assistant principal, audiences felt the scene hit harder because it looked real, and it was. Hughes filmed in New Trier High School in Illinois, a favorite location he'd also used for Ferris Bueller's Day Off. The long hallways, real classrooms, and authentic institutional atmosphere made the showdown feel more grounded than a soundstage ever could. This authenticity mattered because it grounded the comedy in familiarity. Everyone watching could picture their own high school hallway, adding a sting of realism to Buck's comedic confrontation. Hughes knew Chicago schools weren't just sets, they were storytelling weapons. That mountain of pancakes wasn't a camera trick, it was breakfast gone nuclear. John Candy actually stood over a griddle, flipping batter into giant stacks that covered an entire table. Crew members swore Candy handled the spatula himself, sneaking bites between takes while laughing at the absurdity. The syrup? Watered down so it wouldn't glue up on camera. Everything else was as real as it looked. The scene became iconic, not just because of its excess, but because Candy embodied Buck so completely. A man who turned even breakfast into legend, proving that sometimes the funniest moments come from things you can actually smell on set. On screen, Uncle Buck and his teenage niece Tia were locked in a constant battle of sarcasm, rebellion, and slammed doors. Off-screen, their relationship was entirely different. Jean Louisa Kelly, who played Tia, described Candy as nothing but warm and protective. He went out of his way to make her comfortable on set, even though her character was written to clash with him. That genuine kindness is why their dynamic worked so well. Audiences felt the tension, but underneath, there was unspoken affection. Hughes's writing set up the conflict, but Candy's natural empathy gave it depth. He wasn't just acting as the world's most annoying uncle, he was showing how love could shine through chaos. One of Uncle Buck's funniest gags happens when Buck knocks out a foul-mouthed birthday clown. But the joke gets even better when you know who played the role. Under that makeup was Mike Starr, a character actor known for tough guy roles in Goodfellas and Dumb and Dumber. Casting a Hollywood heavy as a sleazy clown added layers of irony. Instead of waving a pistol, he was taking a pratfall. Candy's punch wasn't just comedy, it was poetic reversal. The gag worked because audiences didn't realize they were watching one of cinema's favorite thugs humiliated on screen. Keep watching. The next fact reveals how Uncle Buck's world still exists today, down to the very houses. The Russell family's suburban home wasn't a Hollywood facade. It's a real house still standing in Evanston, Illinois, and fans continue to visit, snapping photos of the iconic doorway Candy barged through. Even Buck's dingy bachelor pad was real, located across from Wrigley Field at 3708 North Sheffield Avenue. On film, it looked like a rundown dump. Today, fans treat it like a shrine. More than 3 decades later, both locations remain, giving fans a chance to step directly into Buck's world. For Hughes, using authentic spaces wasn't just practical. It gave audiences a sense of place that Hollywood sets couldn't replicate. Theatrical posters showed Buck pounding at the door while the entire Russell family resisted. But when Uncle Buck hit VHS, something odd happened. Most of the family was erased. Only young Miles and Maisie remained, bracing against the door. Universal wanted to sell the film as a kids' comedy, highlighting its breakout child stars instead of the family ensemble. This marketing shift reflected how the movie itself had evolved in the public's mind, from a John Candy farce into a family-friendly classic. The poster told two stories. First, a chaotic uncle crashing in, then a movie about kids at the center of the storm. Though Candy played a crude, grumpy slob on screen, his real-life kindness left a lasting impression. Jean Louisa Kelly recalled how Candy surprised her with a birthday cake on set, making the entire crew pause to celebrate. Crew members told similar stories, Candy buying small gifts, treating them to dinner, or simply sharing laughs late into the night. He wasn't just a star doing his job, he was family. That warmth bled into the film itself. Buck's tenderness wasn't fully written into the script, it came from Candy's own heart. For everyone on set, he made life better, which is why his presence still feels unforgettable decades later. Throughout the 80s, John Hughes and John Candy were inseparable. Hughes gave Candy unforgettable roles in Planes, Trains and Automobiles and Uncle Buck. But after 1989, their collaboration quietly ended. Hughes moved toward producing and writing for other projects, while Candy pursued roles elsewhere. Uncle Buck became their final showcase together, the last time Hughes shaped a story entirely around Candy's comedic brilliance and gentle heart. For fans, it feels bittersweet. It wasn't just another comedy, it was the final chapter of one of cinema's great creative partnerships. A farewell of sorts that ensured Candy's place as Hughes's most human, most hilarious muse. Uncle Buck's car wasn't just transportation, it was comedy on wheels. The 1977 Mercury Marquis, affectionately dubbed the Beast, became a character in itself. Every time Buck started it, the explosion of noise made audiences roar. Ironically, the sound effects weren't from the car at all, they were stitched together from gunshots and firecrackers. The result was absurdly loud, unpredictable, and unforgettable. Fans loved it almost as much as Buck himself. By the end, the car symbolized everything about him, messy, chaotic, and larger than life. Hughes turned a simple prop into an iconic gag that made Uncle Buck's entrances as memorable as his one-liners. When Uncle Buck hit theaters, no one was sure John Candy could carry a film. Universal treated the $15 million budget as a small gamble, expecting modest returns. Instead, the movie exploded, earning $79 million worldwide. Families flocked to see the pancakes, the clown, and Candy's grumpy but lovable performance. The success silenced critics who doubted Candy's star power. Suddenly, he wasn't just the funny sidekick. He was a bankable lead. For Hughes, it validated his decision to rewrite the script around Candy's warmth. What started as a risky experiment became a runaway hit. Keep watching. The next fact shows how critics got it completely wrong before history turned Uncle Buck into a timeless classic. At release, critics weren't impressed. Many dismissed Uncle Buck as crude, uneven, or overly reliant on Candy's improvisation. Reviews called it mean-spirited, lacking the sharpness of Hughes's earlier films. Yet audiences saw something different. Families filled theaters, kids howled at the chaos, and parents recognized the tenderness beneath the jokes. Over time, critics' opinions softened as the film's reputation grew. What once seemed disposable became celebrated as one of Hughes's warmest, most human comedies. Candy's heart reshaped the narrative, reminding viewers that laughter can coexist with love. The critics may have missed it, but audiences knew instantly. Uncle Buck was unforgettable. Hollywood tried to keep Uncle Buck alive, but every attempt fell short. In 1990, CBS launched a sitcom starring Kevin Meaney. It fizzled after one season. Decades later, ABC tried again with Mike Epps, only to cancel it after 8 episodes. Overseas, the story took on new life in India as Uncle Bun, reimagining Buck in a different cultural context. Despite these experiments, none recaptured the magic. The truth was clear. Without John Candy, there was no Uncle Buck. His warmth, timing, and presence couldn't be replicated. Every spin-off became a reminder that the film wasn't just a story, it was Candy himself, impossible to replace and timeless in its original form. Before Uncle Buck, John Candy was beloved for sketch comedy and ensemble roles, from SCTV to Stripes. But he wasn't seen as someone who could headline a family comedy. That changed in 1989. As Buck, he was loud, messy, and crude, yet also fiercely loyal and surprisingly tender. Kids saw him as a cartoon come to life, while parents connected with his heart. The film's runaway success proved Candy could do more than steal scenes. He could carry a movie. For many, Uncle Buck became his defining role, the moment he stepped out of the background and into stardom. It was his transformation from sidekick to icon. On screen, Uncle Buck's family felt authentic, but part of that realism came from a casting coincidence. Amy Madigan, who played Buck's girlfriend Shanice, had recently starred in Field of Dreams as Annie Kinsella. In that film, her daughter was played by Gabby Hoffman. Months later, Hoffman returned to play Maisie in Uncle Buck, making the pair mother and daughter on screen twice in the same year. For 1989 audiences, it was an unintentional reunion. 2 wildly different films, one a baseball fable, the other a chaotic comedy, yet bound by the same mother-daughter duo. It was a strange twist of fate that made Buck's family feel even more believable. Uncle Buck could have been just another messy comedy, but it became a landmark of late 80s cinema. It launched Macaulay Culkin, cemented John Candy as a leading man, and even sparked the birth of Home Alone. Critics may have doubted it, but audiences embraced its mix of chaos and heart. Decades later, it remains more than a comedy. It's a time capsule of Hughes's Chicago, Candy's kindness, and a family story that never gets old.